Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. Got a video today from Poor Man's Podcast. Man explains why Gen Z hates America. I've always wondered this. Let's check it out. Please like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Do that. Ciao. It's Chow Time.
Can somebody explain to me in crayon eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live? And I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week.
This guy sounds like he's from California.
That's not the goal, guys. That's not. That should not be our standard. I am so fucking tired of people being complacent with this uniparty, both of them fucking us over.
Agreed.
When my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make, and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,200. Who the fuck can afford that? It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now, but I know so many people are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and all of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the...
It's pretty... Inflation and wages don't even equate to each other properly anymore, so I'm with you on this one.
Fed. Why are we allowing it? Why? And then I clocked...
We didn't allow it. It's the baby boomers that did, because they got the most benefits out of those laws that were created during that time. So now laws are more shifted towards baby boomers because they control most of those things. So it's somewhat the baby boomers' fault too.
Walk out of my shift. I am tired. I have to go home. And I check the news. Another 60 fucking billion to a country nobody can point out on a map. What are we doing? Where has the plot gone? We have lost it, folks. We have fucking lost it. The American dream is dead. It is over. Gone.
See, this is the mentality I would disagree with. It is not, because my family still thrives. My family is the American dream. We came from nothing, from a war-torn country as refugees to this country, and they're doing well now. They maybe not, I guess we would consider it the American dream.
And forgotten.
I'm about to go on a little rant, so if you have the attention span of a chicken sandwich, this is your cue to skip to the next clip. My mom had my brother at 15, and then she had me at 18. A single mom with 2 kids. She moved to Minnesota. She met a man who had kids. They got married and gave their life to God, and this man worked his ass off to get us from the projects into the middle class. And when I say his ass, I mean his whole ass. I'm talking about waking up at 5 a.m. to walk 3 miles to work in Minnesota. That kind of work your ass off. So I'm a very pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of guy, because that's
Agreed.
what I seen as a masculine figure when I was growing up. With that being said, if you want Gen Z to believe in capitalism, you can't allow companies and corporations to come in, buy 25% of the single family homes in America.
They own more than that. They own almost 50% nowadays. These corporations and these investment firms and all these things have bought up so much homes, and they caused the crash in 2008, and it seems to be happening again. I'm a little bit upset about that.
Boost up the prices, charge exorbitant amounts of rent, tell Gen Z that they're basically never going to be able to afford a home, and then act surprised when they start turning into communists. The percentage of single-family homes in America that was owned by companies and corporations pre-COVID was 5%. Now it's 25%.
Oh,
and you know the solution that they tried to push to Gen Z? Tiny homes. Don't nobody want to live in an $80,000 shed with plumbing. People want enough space for a family. And the craziest part is nobody's talking about the death of the middle class. It seems like the right's focused on Israel and the left is focused on identity politics.
He isn't wrong. It really is like that, isn't it? I don't want to talk about politics, but Fuck these parties.
And when they do talk about classes, it's never the middle class because it's not polarizing enough to get votes. So it's always tax cuts for the rich or more welfare programs for the poor. They never talk about the middle class. And it's such a divide and conquer tactic. And if you look, you can see it. Everybody's talking about what group they identify with, and nobody's talking about the fact that the middle class can barely afford food. And let's just be honest, our government on both sides is no longer working for the best interests of the people. They're working towards the best interests of the people that make the millionaires and their campaign donors. You can't
Correct.
tell Gen Z that they got to work a full-time job, drive Uber Eats in their spare time, and they're never going to be able to afford a home because they're going to get outbidded by a corporation and expect them to believe in.
It's not just that. These corporations are paying cash. Cash. Like, how can people fight against cash? Like, normal people would have to put at least a 10%, 20% down payment on a home. They don't have the cash flow. They just put it straight down, $800,000 on a home. That's crazy. And these corporations do.
Capitalism. It's just not going to work.
A daily reminder that these are the people that actually decide basically everything on behalf of the entire country, where our money gets spent, how much we pay in taxes, whether or not TikTok gets banned, what's considered freedom, what's not. These people probably don't even know how to attach a PDF file to an email. These people probably don't even know how to connect their phone to the Wi-Fi. These people haven't worked a real fucking job in probably 30 years. And also keep in mind that once you get voted into one of these political positions, you get paid at minimum like $200,000 for the rest of your life. So
The rest of your life thing is crazy to me, that politicians get paid lifetime like this. I don't understand that. Why?
they can just sit in Congress, do absolutely nothing, and just age gracefully, in quotation marks. The worst part about elderly people being in political power is that they're not even going to have to live through the decisions that they are making on behalf of everyone else.
I agree. Most of the decisions are made by boomers, and they make decisions to benefit themselves. Boomers, people of their age and generation. So this is why when the younger generation, my generation, aren't so much into politics, and we can't get into politics because these people won't get out of politics. If these people are voted in and stay in for such long periods of time, how can new people come in and get the experience that's needed to learn all these things and then get the experience needed to fix all of these things? It takes so much time and effort to be in these positions, but these people just sit there and never cared so much, at least in my opinion.
They'll be gone by the time the actual real consequences come from their actions that they're deciding on right now. It just makes me
100%
sick.
agreed.
And if you look down there, I don't see a single person that looks like they are even at the age of 40. Every single one of these people is 60 plus, and there's a reason for that.
Now that we talked about Gen Z, let's talk about the boomers for a little bit. And this rant is inspired by one of my favorite comedians, Tim Dillon. The boomers are extremely selfish and condescending, and they've convinced themselves that the only reason they prospered is because of hard work. They started with the sexual revolution to rebel against their parents, and then those hippies turned into capitalists and materialists. And to be honest, the sexual revolution wasn't even a rebel, it was just a selfish desire to indulge in sex. And because they came from strong nuclear families, many of them ended up getting married. They bought houses for $30,000, and they love to brag about how that house is now worth $500,000. They got all the benefits of the nuclear family, and then they taught their kids they don't need family, they just need a Ferrari. Now they're hogging up all the real estate and all the positions of power. People who haven't worked for 30 years are making decisions on middle class people that gotta work for every day. They refuse to acknowledge the fact that their grandkids can't afford a $400,000 3-bedroom home, and instead of helping,
I wish it was $400,000 where I live. It's $150,000 for a 3-bedroom basic home with one garage and a driveway and a slight backyard. I literally live in that home right now. I'm renting, from my friend. He bought it from his parents. He bought it when it was cheap. He bought it for like $200,000, $300,000 when his parents retired. He's lucky he's paying only like $2,200 in mortgages. Most mortgages nowadays are $500 plus. So again, I'm much into politics. I know you guys don't watch me for politics, but this stuff needs to be said. There's stuff that needs to be said.
Helping them with their positions of power, they want to line their own pockets. It's absolute insanity. Their whole generational identity is wrapped around the idea that hard work pays off, and that's because they lived in a time where one person could work a job and afford a home.
Well, they made laws that way at that time. I mean, laws were before their time, correct? So even the people before the boomers, the war vets, and all of the World War II people, those were the people that made the laws back then, and they made laws to benefit the boomers. But when the boomers came into power, they made laws to keep benefiting themselves.
They refuse to acknowledge the fact that the world is different, mostly because of their decisions. We need young, ambitious leaders that are going to be alive for the next 20 years to help us make decisions on what's going to happen in the next 20 years.
It ain't me, guys. Don't ever say red for president or anything. I have no clue about politics. I barely understand it. I understand people, and I understand how to mingle and talk to people, but there's such a stark difference in what politics truly is that plus I don't even want any part of it.
Bushings. This bag of bushings stamped out by machinists. Don't need a high school diploma. It's not anything high tech about this. All of this bag is compliant with the FAA specifications. How much do you think the Air Force pays for this bag of bushings?
I don't know, Congressman.
$90,000.
I'm a math guy. I'm a numbers guy. So when this is why these corporations make so much goddamn money. And it's so funny that the government can't make money. They just can't. But they can tax the people that make money. But they use that tax dollars to pay companies crazy, exorbitant amounts of money for stupid shit like these bushings. What the fuck?
This is a $90,000 bag of bushings that you need for any jet turbine engine just to operate. So the exorbitant cost due to DoD only buying commercial parts from the OEMs, which is essentially sole source, is literally driving us out of business. I mean, the interest on our debt alone is now exceeding, for the first time in American history, the entire defense budget. We can't afford it anymore.
Bingo. People do not want to see their tax money go to wars in other countries that they cannot even point out on a map when we have homeless people shooting up fentanyl on the streets. And everybody's talking about Israel or Palestine, not even realizing that it's another divide and conquer tactic.
I've never cared about the Israel-Palestine stuff. That's why I never talk about it, and I never will.
I'm team no World War III. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm team no World War III. Let's help the homeless people here in America with our American tax dollars. Also,
Agreed.
why are we expected to give more money to a government that's been proven to be bad with money? What other entity gets that privilege? If I was a person or any other entity and I walked into a bank with the spending habits that America has, they would laugh me out of the room. But us as Americans who go to work every day are just expected to give them more money when they've proven to be bad with money.
I know, it's just like lottery. The lottery is I consider it poor tax because mostly poor people buy lottery tickets. And what does it actually do? It just gives, when someone wins $1 billion, do you know what actually happens? The government just won $500 million for no reason because of taxes. That's how they are generating these exorbitant amounts of money and taxing the poor people, the regular people, their own citizens, to do so. Because when you think about it, all of that lottery money was not money from the government. It was money from everybody that bought lottery tickets. But the government automatically gets just half of it or even more than that when there's a lump sum. Just to put that out there, guys.
What needs to be happening here is that Black Americans and white Americans and Latino Americans are all getting together and saying, we're fucking Americans and you're not gonna fuck with us. If they're Americans and you come here from your shithole country and you fuck with us, you're gonna be dealt with. That needs to be the policy. Running up and down the streets, punching people,
Hey, what about the Asian guys?
fucking doing whatever the they want, beating up the cops, flipping the cops off. They divided us intentionally in 2020 so that this exact unity wouldn't happen when they did this shit. People are starting to figure it out. I love it, dude.
I think it's
I love
awesome.
it. People are starting to get it. It's Americans and then it's other people. It's
Correct.
not black, it's not white, it's not gay, it's not straight.
I agree with
It's
this.
Americans and then it's other people.
Exactly.
As much as I love my own country and my people, they're not my people. I live here. This is my people. America is my people. I love America. I love America to such a detriment that I'm willing to do a lot of things that most Americans are not willing to do. Why? Because I know how hard it is to not live in this country and to have grown up in such a poor country. If you guys didn't know, I wasn't born here. I came here when I was 5. So I've experienced how it was in a third world country that was war torn, that didn't have resources, that didn't have regular food.
Exactly. Americans have fallen victim to comfort due to materialism and the idea that tolerance is a virtue. And so now we've gotten to the point where we'll tolerate anything as long as there's some level of comfort. The rich know that in tough times, people need someone to blame. And so Americans have been divided into so many subcategories that we forgot that we all Americans. Our government is supposed to work for the people, but they're being bought out by rich lobbyists who influence their decisions based on campaign donations. And we don't even notice that we all getting bent over because everybody's blaming their hardship on the opposing group. We gotta remember that white Americans are the same people that damn near overthrew a government over a 2% tax. American black people are
True.
the same people that endured through slavery, built Black Wall Streets, and were the highest married demographic up until the 60s. It's almost as if we forgot.
Asian Americans helped build the Chinese helped build the railroad, were also somewhat slaves. Japanese were put in internment camps. All of us are Americans. We need to stop, because I get a lot of this race war stuff shit on my fucking comments all the time. How I'm racist, I'm culture vulture and all this bullshit. I'm just talking about stuff I want to talk about, and I talk about stuff that you guys enjoy watching and want to like listen to too. There's parts of YouTube that is not my job, in a sense that my job is entertainment. My job is to give you guys what you guys like to watch and listen to and hear. I can't just say whatever I want to say and be successful. That's not how it works. That's why I focus more on the communities, the things that I focus on, because one, these things matter to me. I grew up in these communities. Don't think I'm just some stranger that just comes along and just judging people. What the fuck are you guys talking about?
Who we are and the types of people that our ancestors had to be to get us to this point. The companies that are in power and our current government's worst nightmare is for Americans to remember who we are and who we came from. We've become tolerant of treatment that our ancestors would never allow. Let me know in the
Agreed.
comments below if this video was a W or a L, and give me the HBO special. That's a Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.
Shout outs to poor man. No, I 100% agree with this whole take. I'm also from that generation mindset of, pull yourself up from the bootstraps. I've seen my family do it, and my family came with nothing and have failed here and there, and now they're thriving because they just kept working hard. So I get the hard working generation part, but I also get the getting fucked over because prices are so absorbent, and we're paying $90,000 for fucking bushings. That's so crazy that government is willing to pay these corporations full crazy numbers. Why? Because it's not their money. It's our money that they're using to do these things. So we really need to push our own people, and as in like generational wise, younger generational people that know what they're doing, that want to become politicians, that want to change things into positions that can do those things for us. It is what it is. Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.